Chat, what have you done without me? What have you done all day without me with this schedule change? Do you miss me in the morning? No? Me every time LR says something freaky? If the full story of Fnatic offseason ever goes public, the community will be gifted one of the most comedic stories seen in years. Putting my phone in my asshole now. It's set to vibrate on every notification. You can ask all you want. You're only getting me off. Didn't he just take Forrest's tweet? I'm pretty sure Forrest is the one who tweeted that. Or was it Don Jake? Someone took that tweet first. It was Don Jake who took it first. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about the Fnatic offseason. If I was a Fnatic fan, if I heard what happened in this offseason, I would fucking... Huh? Huh? Jesus! It's not my place to say it. I don't want to be that guy that keeps secrets and shit like that, or hides info or whatever, or says like, I know something you don't. I'm not gonna be like that guy. But on this topic, I do think this shit should get leaked by someone that is involved. It's not my place to say it. You just did? Yeah, well, I'm not saying that I didn't just do it, but I never normally do this, you know? I never normally do this. But on this topic, it would be very funny if it's... Okay, my bad. I did say it. I said, I don't want to be this guy, but then I became that guy. That's my fault. That's my fault. Listen. Maybe it'll get leaked. Normally the way these things go is like... Someone tells someone something, who tells someone something, who tells someone not to say something about something, someone, and then someone will say it one day. But I'm not a leaker or a fake rat when it comes to, like, intel. Not happening. I'm not gonna tell it to Wooloo. Anyone who tells anyone, like, I don't wanna be mean. Like, okay. Nothing against Wooloo. Big props to Wooloo for like making sheep esports and all these things. But whoever leaks the information is just fucking weird. And it's just the people who are weird are agents who leak the information intentionally on purpose to skew deals that they're negotiating in the offseason to either A, force it to happen, or B, make other teams start to offer more. I.e., my client is being offered 200k a year from BDS. Yo, Wooloo. Can you tell sources BDS is interested in this player? While Fnatic's already emailing in. And you tell Fnatic, oh guys, the conversations have gotten really extended, you know. And so what they do is they use leaking and shit like that as a way to help them. Chat, I said agents. What do you mean Asians? Are you f***ing okay? Faker and his lawyer in the gym. Same thing happens in football. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the way it goes. Everyone is locked in except Canyon, bro. Why is Canyon laugh? Bro, did the cameraman say, "Hey, remember what you did to Peanut with on Hacker Room with your Nidalee?" And he started laughing. Faker, what was that? Come on. Okay. Which one of you did that? Which one of you did that? Which one of you did that? Can you imagine Faker actually did that pose? Like how? What is that? Oh, bro. That, I can't believe my clip channel editor actually made that thumbnail. Like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. Chovy and Shanks, W. G2 Copium, nope, not going near that shit. Caedrel's tongue length. Okay, I'm not even gonna look at what the fuck that is. A new Valve intro just dropped. That is... Bro. I take a day off, I'm 10 minutes into the stream, and this is what I have to put up with. Really? On an Alaska, fishing boats while watching Caedrel. Damn, he's fishing on his boat. Wait, that's kind of cool. Holy f... Look at that graphic. Koi versus BLG. Damn. Holy f***, that's cool. It's got a Worlds logo in the back. If they made that an MSI trophy, that'll go hard. G2 cashed out 16 million from SOL tokens, resulting in a projected net profit of 9 million euros for 2024. Despite operating in a loss. What? They're doing Solana tokens? What does that mean? I don't know. I know it's crypto, but I don't know enough about crypto. Is that like what the fucking what's her name did? The Hawk Twa girl? Is that the same thing? Or no, different? I don't know enough. No. They held it as a treasury asset and then they sold it. Wait, so they just like invested in crypto? As a team? So their team just bought crypto and then sold it and made a profit? Okay, so are they gonna buy some new players with their money? TLDR, they just gambled on crypto. I mean, it worked, I guess. So they made more money as an esports team gambling on crypto than they did from selling any of their players or made money from any of the leagues in a year. They just made more money by buying a SOL token and just selling it. Okay. Gamba, gamba, gamba. I mean, I feel like crypto and everything's here to stay. What else? My cat predicts MSI. Is this your cat who predicted GAM to win against G2 and then G2? This cat's fucking... Okay, the cat's kind of onto something. What is this? LCK match splits out. It starts on the 23rd of July. Isn't that fucking crazy? MSI ends on the 12th of July. MSI ends. EWC starts on the 15th and ends on the 20th. And then LCK starts on the 23rd. So, for example, Gen G, if they make MSI finals, they fly to Saudi on the 13th, 14th, and then they do EWC on the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, EWC. Then they fly to Korea. They have like 1 day, and then they scrim on a new patch. Man, they get like 1 day off. EWC for fun. EWC is a shit ton of money, so I think they will be tryharding for their lives probably. How much money is it? I don't know actually. I think it's 2 million. I think it's a 2 million prize pool. That's really sad actually. I wonder, I mean, these are the things that like impact Gen G. Like a team like Gen G is and T1 are the two teams that would suffer the most because they're the ones who are kind of non-stop going, right? Halma-Life at least had a break. But like Gen G and T1 are going to rock up to EWC on the 15th. The further they go in MSI, the less time they have to be honest, like, let's say you're a Gen G or T1. Let's say you lose in like a lower bracket round 3. Do you really like fly to Korea for 2 days and then fly to Saudi? Or do you just stay in NA for a couple days and then fly to Saudi? Because I feel like you have to travel the whole world and then play. Maybe they just travel there early and get the fucking jet lag done. But it's these things that fuck you for Worlds, right? You're going. Regular sit starts going. Split starts going. Like Gen G plays on the 25th. Gen G plays on the fucking first day? That's gotta be a crime. How can they make them play on the first day? What they do in the LPL, like when JDG was at MSI 23 and they won, the first week of LPL, they didn't play against each other. They didn't play, sorry. The first week of the LPL, the JDG didn't play. They got a week to recover. But you can't tell me that you're going to put Gen G on the first day of LCK. Like, that is disgusting. That is actually disgusting. They're going to finish their EWC, what the fuck, on the 20th? Oh my god, I think that is actually vile. The good news for Gen G, though, is that Spring Split carries over to Summer. So they're still 18-0. They're still 18-0. And then they're going to have to go from MSI EWC, regular season, 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 playoffs. There's no break. 31st, the regular season ends. The third playoffs, round 1. They're probably round 2. Playoffs, 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 playoffs. This is end of September. And then World starts on the 1st of October, doesn't it? Or like the first week of October. The rats are locked in. Yeah, I went to Wimbledon, chat. I went to Wimbledon. And I watched Taylor Fritz play in the Wimbledon tennis. It was kind of good. I liked it a lot. Alright, I haven't done my pick'ems yet. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Alright. The best pick'ems on the block. Now, I am known for being the CEO of pick'ems. That's a fact. That is a fact. However, my play-ins pick'ems, I did get it wrong. I did say Gam would get through and G2 would be third. I was close. It was a gamble. It was a very big gamble. I gambled it, and the reason I gambled it is because I'm a pick'ems connoisseur, okay? And so what I wanted to do there is I wanted to make it so if people put BLG G2 Gam Furia, 90% of people who put that, obviously, would be knocked out in the first round, and I would ascend. I actually thought Gam could win as well, but they didn't. Alright, let's get into the pick'ems. The first round is probably the second most one-sided matchup next to CFO T1 on paper. I would say Gen G is probably just going to 3-0 today. Anything else is very surprising. Gen G is the best team in the world, probably. G2 look like fucking completely all over the place. What I'll do here is I'll give you what I will pick, but I'll give you odds of what you should probably go for based on theoretical/fan sentiment. I would say Gen G wins. This is probably the closest one, AL versus FlyQuest, of next to Koi BLG. These two are the closest two, I would say, in terms of like potential series that teams take games off each other. Like I think G2 Gen G and CFO T1 are both 3-0s. I think if CFO take a game, that would be pretty impressive. But I think these two are going to be relatively stomps. AL versus FlyQuest, I think AL will win. However, the best way to phrase this is actually not so much gameplay. It's more so, what's the word? I don't like to use the word aura, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'll describe it and maybe you can give me the word. If I told you, I'll try and describe it. If I told you the first seed from the LPL last year, BLG, you'd be scared. If I told you the first seed from the LPL the year before that, JDG, with Knight and Bin, you'd be scared. But if I told you now the first seed of the LPL, AL, a team with players who have like shown that they do not step up sometimes in internationals, right? AL is probably, I don't know how far back you'd have to go, but probably one of the weakest first seeds on paper when it comes to like internationals, because A, the team's never been there before, and B, the players that are there don't have the pedigree of showing up in internationals, okay? And I feel like that argument's pretty solid. Last year you have BLG with fucking Knight and Bin, and the year before that you had JDG with 369 and Ruler, also Knight. And the reason I'm saying that is because FlyQuest as a team, their peak was almost beating Gen G. Who, if I told you right now who's a stronger team at that point in time, Gen G 2024 or AL 2025, you would say Gen G 2024. So FlyQuest have shown that their peak is high enough to compete with the best teams in the world. And this first seed from the LPL is probably the weakest first seed of the LPL in terms of pedigree that you've seen in the last, I don't know how many years. AL's probably going to win. But the reason I say that is that FlyQuest do have a chance. It's not that big, but FlyQuest do have a chance. I think stylistically, AL is also favored. Because AL, and I went through this on my team tier list, AL is a team that is very good. One of their biggest strengths is they're very good at putting more numbers than the enemy team on a contest than any team in the world. They will fucking send it 5-men. If you watch my team tier list back, I gave like 4 examples of it. But they will rise ult 4 people into you for that wolf camp. They will drop a bot wave to Sion ult mid for that mid wave. They will contest that blue buff with 4 people, not 3. And FlyQuest's one of their biggest weakness in the final is they contest with fewer numbers too much and get punished for it. So I think what you'll see is FlyQuest will rock up with number damage fights and take city fights, and AL will just roll them. So I think stylistically it's not that great for FlyQuest. However, pedigree-wise, FlyQuest definitely have a chance. I would say FlyQuest could take a game, but I would say AL probably wins that matchup. CFO T1. I think CFO had some great showings at first end. Do I think they have the level to beat a caliber team like T1? No. I think they're probably just outclassed across the board. I think, again, if CFO take a game, that's impressive. I think T1 should probably steamroll the series. Because if T1 was to go to 5 games in this series, I think they're fucked for the whole tournament. Now, I think this is probably the closest matchup you have. Koi versus BLG. BLG showed very good gameplay in play-ins. Why are you all saying cope? Chat, on paper, what is the closest matchup here? On paper. It's probably BLG Koi. It's not that it... If you had to tell me a matchup that's the closest on paper, it's Koi BLG, I would say. It's not AL FlyQuest. I would say Koi BLG is probably closer. You're telling me that first LPL, a team AL who beat BLG in the upper bracket finals and the finals, they beat BLG twice in a best of 5 when it mattered a little bit as well against FlyQuest, is closer than M Koi, who had a peak in playoffs against BLG. I think this is closer. Anyway. This matchup's a little... I think a lot of people will lean towards BLG in this matchup, and I'm same. I think BLG will probably win against Koi. I think Koi... I don't want to repeat myself a lot about team tier lists. We haven't seen them play yet. Jungle support's a very big thing. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned by for BLG is I think in some of their play-ins games, their early games were not that crisp. I don't know. They fell behind early a lot. I don't know if there's a stat to back it up. Let me check. But I got the sense that a lot of their early games, they were generally down in the first 10-15 minutes. So they need to be really careful about the early games. Other than that, I think BLG was pretty flawless. Some team fights against G2 were a bit silly. Actually, the stat is not there to back it up. They're 1.2k gold up at 15 minutes on average. So, my bad maybe. Felt like they were a little bit behind in the early game. Their team fighting's really good. They showed a very, very strong understanding of how to fight. I feel like Beishuan was pretty solid in the play-ins as well. He was like semi-reliable. There was a game he was playing that I didn't like it too much, or a game or two. There was a Skarner game and a Xin game where I thought he was a bit useless. I don't know which games that were. But he had some games where he was like showing that he's quite strong. But Beishuan will be the weakest point of BLG in this series. So, sorry, this music is super loud. Yeah, he had 2 games where I was like, this guy's kind of ending. Yeah, I think Koi, I'll be very impressed if Koi win that series. But I'm going to go BLG. I just think BLG is just going to pull it off. I can't not believe in BLG in that series, even as an EU fan. Yeah, speak English equals lose. But jungle, I think is going to be the most important in that series. It's going to be so tight, jungle. But I think the caliber of laners in BLG is probably just enough to get them to that series. All right. T1 versus BLG. We'll start from the lower bracket, I guess. G2 versus FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest wins that. CFO versus Koi. I definitely think this is where Koi can take a series. 100%. I think Koi can take CFO there. Maybe I'm slightly EU biased, but I think if you look back, KC was doing pretty well against CFO. They almost got reverse swept. This Koi, I feel like this Koi has a very deep understanding of draft and fundamentals, and I don't know how that understanding came so suddenly. Because this team, as a scrim team, is not winning anything, but then on stage they seem to win everything in EU, which is a bit of a worrying trend. So yeah, I think if they play good fundamentals in slow league, they'll be fine. I'll say Koi. I think here we will see this matchup here, Genji versus AL, is the matchup that will decide a lot of the tournament. Genji AL T1 will decide a lot of this tournament. I think AL style won't work against Genji. I think Genji will keep them at arm's length. They won't get sucked into silly fights. They will push waves. I think the biggest gap for me that's possible in this series, unironically, is Tabe. I think if he can draft really good fighting comps for AL and doesn't give Genji too many silly flex champs or pushing lanes for Canyon to play on and shut down Tarzan, I think he can really get Genji by the balls. Because I think Genji, some of their drafts were just kind of shit. Like, I think one of Genji's biggest strengths is their pools, like their solo laners. Chovy and Keen, they will play anything. They'll play anything. Just pick it and he will play it. But some of their drafts in the first couple of games, I was a bit worried by them. So, let's see how Tabe can do in draft. I think Genji will win. T1 BLG, I think T1's got it. Again, T1 BLG, I don't know what the stat is, but I feel like every time BLG plays T1 at MSI, T1 lose. But I think this is where BLG will hit their blocker. BLG is a little bit scary though. I think if BLG didn't have play-ins, they would be obviously a bit worse. But I think play-ins is helping them a lot. Some teams level up through play-ins big time. So we could see a massive growth spurt of BLG this tournament, where they just roll MKoi and then they're really competitive against T1 and they take on Genji, you know. There could be yeah, exactly like G2. G2, massive growth spurt. So, yeah, I think this is definitely the wall that BLG will hit as to, like, are they really going to be the team that levels up through play-ins? The only matchup I'm a little concerned of in this one is top side. I think Knight was fucking crazy in play-ins. Sorry, guys. Knight was pretty fucking crazy in play-ins. And there's key picks that I think giving BLG is going to backfire big time. Like, what is this? Sorry. Like, for example, Talia is going to be a monster pick this series. T1 need to make sure he doesn't get that. Annie is going to be a monster pick in this series. Like, champs that Knight can either push the lane on or make plays on is very, very dangerous. BLG versus FlyQuest. Depending on how they perform against BLG, this is where I think FlyQuest might come alive at this tournament. And this will be the Western, like, upset. I think FlyQuest is going to beat them. That's my, like, hot take of the tournament, I think. I said FlyQuest is maybe a stronger team than BLG at this tournament. I'm going to get laughed at a lot. Maybe if they lose, I'll get laughed at again still. But I genuinely believe that FlyQuest can take BLG in this tournament. I went through it a lot during the team tier listing. Maybe my prediction is going to be a bit different. Obviously, this is pick'ems. I think if you want to do pick'ems and you want to go off of fan sentiment and expectations, you can be the Eastern guy and just pick this and say, well, LCK and LPL are going to win. I think the only hole for me is FlyQuest and BLG. That's the only hole. I think AL will beat Koi, 100%. AL will then take out FlyQuest, and this will be the one series that the West has to hold I think Genji will beat T1, and then this is where the most fun matchup of the whole tournament comes. This is where the most fun matchup comes. I think T1 will win, and it'll be a Genji T1 finals. That's how I see the tournament going, personally. I think, my opinion is, okay, my opinion is, two things happen this tournament. Number one, this happens, and it's an LCK finals. Number two is this happens. And it's Genji, BLG, MSI repeat. And BLG skip AL, and T1 take them out for them. And BLG level up through the tournament. And because they beat T1, they skip. And something like this happens. But I'm pretty confident. And it's a little bit of a gamble, my prediction. But I think this is what it would look like. I don't know. It's all of these pick'ems are up in the air from LCK versus LPL. Who will win? Oh, Genji will win. For me, all of these pick'ems are up in the air from LCK versus LPL. I just don't see AL beating Genji. I don't see it. I don't see T1 beating Genji either, even with 2 tries. Unless they do their thing where they do the T1 magic and, you know, I could sit here and say, well, T1 always pull it off in internationals, so they're going to win the tournament. I don't feel like I don't know. They can't keep getting away with it, you know? Also, historically, if you want to go off the magic factor, T1's never really had magic in MSI. That's just not been a thing. Their magic comes towards the end of the year. I feel like that reason, your definition of magic is, I think T1 is a team that is good in longer tournaments to give them more time on a patch. And I think shorter patches favor teams who were stronger in the region before arriving at the tournament. Because it's just like the momentum just, like MSI is quick. You're there for like, you get there a few days before. It's a week and a half basically before the finals. And you're just going. That's why teams like BLG, I think, could level up a little bit in MSI in the extra couple days they had. But the reason T1 does well is, I think in longer tournaments, they find holes in games and they find champs to play that others don't. Like Carry is a very good example of a player that if you give him enough time on a patch, he will find something to fuck you with. But I don't know if T1 is like... I think the reason T1 doesn't do well at MSIs in general is just they don't have enough time. So I think this is going to be my pick'ems. I'm excited. There's a lot of stories here. Genji Steamroll, there's a T1 Magic, there's a BLG Rise, or there's an AL... a new AL era coming in, you know? Do you think Genji only playing 1 best of 5 in a month will affect them? No. 2 reasons for that. 1, it's double elimination. And 2, everyone else only really played 1 best of 5 in the last month as well, other than G2 and BLG. Everyone else has kind of been away. Double elimination will help them. And it's a completely different patch. But I still think Genji will ride the old patch a bit and win. Other storylines, I don't know. I think if you're looking at biggest upsets possible, I think possible upsets, this one I labeled as an upset that could actually happen. I don't know. I think that this could happen, where FlyQuest randomly, for no reason, beats AL, and then they will get stomped by Genji anyway. But AL falls to the first round of the lower bracket. That would be funny. Koi randomly beats G2 and BLG, sorry, and all of the EU fans just like go crazy. Yeah. You said Alvaro better than On. I did say Alvaro better than On, but I didn't say I don't think Koi can beat BLG as a team. I think that if BLG is going to lose to Koi, the difference maker is Alvaro and Elyoya. Like, that is just a fact. And you'll hear that from everyone, probably. I'm pretty happy with these pick'ems. Do you agree that NA is better than EU? Yeah. I think that's been proven multiple times in the last 2 years already. NA shows up when it matters. And they have like teams at a caliber that would beat Europe, yeah. I don't think that they're that much better. I feel like it's pretty even. I think they're slightly better. Because your team is European anyway. But yeah. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that's just the way it is. Bwipo's in the LEC, he makes World Finals. Bwipo's in the LTA, he's winning the LTA, you know. Inspired's making World Top 8 in the LEC. He's going to the LTA, he's also doing well. Your mid is NA. Well, if NA players and EU players are interchangeable in both regions and we're pretty close, that just means we're the same power level. W Pick'ems, once again, I copied everything you chose because you have 100% win in both Pick'ems and solo queue. Thank you for the points. Jolly man. W comment. W comment. There's a video released that says the best plays from MSI 2025. Oh, I'm so here for it. I hope, by the way, my favorite thing ever would be if this tournament is just a tournament of upsets, you know? Just like fucking some crazy shit goes down. I want T1 BLG though. And like Genji AL plays against each other in like a lower bracket. That would be so fucking funny. And then like if G2 do manage to upset Genji somehow and then they lose, then there's EU versus EU, which is funny. I don't know, man. I just feel like some crazy shit like this happening would be great. I want some crazy shit like that happening. Anyway, it's very unlikely that it happens, but... Okay. Oh no, wait. Genji win. Oops. Oops.